Okay.
All right, so notice that I've been gone all night and I'm back again today. You can't do this project in one sitting, it'll collapse, as some of you have already found out. I've double wrapped it because I've been gone from the day. So, taking off my double layers. Go ahead and check, how's it doing? Is it getting too dry? Go ahead and spray it, put paper towel on it, all the different ways we've talked about rehydrating it. Smooth it out if you dinged it up. You can smooth it out with your hand. You can smooth it out with a sponge. But you want that surface to be nice and flat, so you can go ahead and add your sgraffito or any other designs you want on there. So keep it moist, not too moist, it's Goldilocks, too hot, too cold, too wet, too dry, too soft, too firm. You're always playing with that ceramics, always. All right, notice that I'm keeping the bottom part still covered while I'm working. Why is that? Well, I've built this over the last few days, so this is nice and firm. And then I added this section on yesterday. So it's still a little tiny wobbly. And notice that I did this additional little plastic on top so that when I'm ready to slip and score, this won't be too dry. So that's just a strip of plastic I have on there. Okay, so at this point you may have extruded coils, or you may need to make your own coils. So when I need to make my own coils, I just slice up some of my clay into little blocks. Always keep your bag nice and tight. There's nothing worse than trying to work with hard clay. If it does get hard, you can poke some holes in it, put some water in it and let it remoisten. I'm gently turning this to make a new coil. If you go too hard, you'll make imprints in that. So nice and gentle. Turning it, then twisting it. Putting a twist in it helps it stay nice and round, and then rolling it out. So if I was going to add another coil to the top of this, I would roll it smaller. If I'm going to turn it into a handle, I have to decide how big a handle do I want. That thickness that's up here should be the approximate thickness here. So I can then go ahead and flatten this. And then once again, gently, it's repetition of your stroke rather than firmness. You're not Godzilla here. It's nice and gentle. It's like touching up kittens and puppies. It's repetition. Okay, so then if I'm making a handle, do I want it bigger? I want that bigger. So I'll just start again. But if it was perfect, go ahead. You like the thickness, you like the length. Remember, you need to just lay it out and let it firm up. That's really wet and more challenging. Well, I made these two yesterday. I put them side by side so that I could match them. And now we have to use our good old techniques. Slip, score, compress, and lute. I've marked it where I want this to go. On the side, notice that I've cut this at a nice angle so it fits the angle of the vase. And this I've cut flush because I'm going to put it on there flush. But you know, there's other ways I could have put this, right? You have to make those determinations by practicing, thinking about it. Notice also that this is leather hard, but it's not firm leather hard, super firm. It's not stiff leather hard, it's just firm leather hard. Then taking my trusty fork or a serrated knife, really scratch that up. Go back to where you've marked it, scratch it up. Note where you're going to have it. Get that firm or it'll pop in the kiln. You might not see your mistake or your poor technique until you get it out of the kiln, and then you'll have cracks on that. Just going to use my brush to add some slip. On these, I like to add a good amount of slip so that it actually gushes out when I'm attaching it. Slip, score, well, we scored it, right? Do I still like it? Compress means press. Now, if you press too hard, you'll smash the top here, right? So you're always doing Goldilocks on the pressure, not too hard, not too soft. Notice that it's gooped out of here. That's good. I want it to goop out. I want to make sure that that's on there. Now I have to make sure I'm joining or luting my clay from here onto here. Really compressing that. Clay loves to be pressed together. You can do almost anything if you'll compress. Get all the angles. And also, you can, I'm just going to add a little coil around that base to protect it, and then I'll join this in too. I love this tool, my wooden tool. If you don't have that, you could use the back of a fork or something, right? Remember, everything's a tool when you're an artist. Blend that in. And I'm looking, I'm feeling how much pressure can I put on here. And I'll do the same thing down here. Just really making sure that you've attached this well. I'll put a little coil down there. You've spent dozens of hours maybe at this point designing it, doing your homework, researching. So why skip a step at this point? Right. And if you can't get into an area because it's too small, remember you always have a brush. I always love chopsticks too. They're really nice for blending. And just really get in there. Oh. What else do we have? Good old knife too. Don't forget your kitchen knives. They're a great tool. And get into really small places. And then you just really want to refine that. Don't forget to refine your work.